Well, you got out 2 times?
Do I need to re-explain?
No, please, you can answer.
And when he came back to tell me what he had saw.
Okay, so again, I only want to know
Yeah, and
what...
I am. I'm telling you.
Just a moment. Please listen to the whole.
You indicated that you saw your dad take something out of a truck and take a picture of a license plate back on the April 24th into 25th of 2020, correct?
Correct.
Sorry, is the audio still really low? I don't know what's going on. The audio is low. What's up?
After that, did you see any items in possession of the defendant that were from that same incident?
That did not belong to him?
That did not belong to the defendant? It belonged to somebody else?
Yes.
Okay. And so what were the items that you then saw at a later date that did not belong to the defendant?
That night we got back to the house, and it was more like the next day, and we took a look at what he was showing. I took a look at what he was showing me, and it was a letter. I don't really understand what the letter was for.
Yeah, sorry. And the captions are not available yet. It takes a while for YouTube to process these super long streams, and captions... Actually, I don't know. Captions should be available by now. Kind of weird. Okay. As long as you guys can hear it.
But it was a Dear John letter, and then it was also his registration for his car.
Yeah. So let me just show you a copy of 225 and ask you if this is a document that you recognize from your dad having those items. Only if that's something you do recognize.
Yes.
So what is 225 in terms of your recognizing it?
What do you mean by that?
Is that the document you saw when you described some kind of, I think you said registration? Is that what you meant? Okay. So is this appear to be the same document?
Oh, maybe he's the pizza man? Oh my gosh, like what if he like what if Gutierrez never ordered pizza, but he showed up as the pizza man, knocked on the door, was like, "Hey, did you order pizza?" And Gutierrez like, "No, I didn't order pizza." He's like, "Well, you know, I'll just give it to you for free anyways. Maybe let him in. Open the door to deliver the pizza, maybe." I don't know. That'd be an interesting theory.
I mean, a copy of the same document.
Look at his face.
Looking at it, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Look at this guy's face.
And was there some handwriting on the copy you saw, if you remember?
At one point there was, yes.
And who wrote on it?
My dad.
So now I'm going to show you
States Exhibit 1, number 323.
States Exhibit 1, number 223. I'm sorry, 323. My apologies. I just showed you.
Yeah, that's his handwriting.
Okay, and whose handwriting is that?
The defendant's.
And then when she starts referring to him as the defendant instead of my dad, there's this one part where he was like you could tell he was like triggered. Like he thought it was like funny. It was like triggered, but like, you know, he can't say nothing. Like he wasn't.
Is that handwriting you saw on the document when you saw it previously?
Yes.
And where were you location-wise when you saw these documents, this letter and this registration type document?
Standing on his right side.
Okay.
In his room, by his desk.
In his room at his home in Mequon?
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, Mequon. Is that how you pronounce it?
Now, on Sunday, May 17th, before you left, did you have occasion to see anybody in your family playing with Legos in a location in the house?
Yes.
And what location in the house was that?
It was close to, like, around my dad's house.
Okay, and where in what area of your dad's house?
The downstairs.
Okay, so in the downstairs of your dad's house, who was playing Legos?
My brother.
And when your brother was playing Legos, did you end up in the same area as he was playing Legos?
Yeah.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you observe that you then told law enforcement about later?
Well, a Lego had dropped through the floorboards, and so Magnum had asked if he could go down there and look for it, and I said, yeah, that should be okay. And then I went down and, like, with him, obviously, because it was, I'm not gonna lie, the basement was kind of creepy. So he asked me if I could go with him. I said, yeah, so I went down there. There was a roller chair, whatever, and it had tape and rope on it, and my brother had a flashlight. We went down there, whatever, got his Lego and went back upstairs. Didn't think anything of it.
So when you say roller chair, can you describe like where this kind of chair would be? And
Like a black armchair.
okay, like a desk chair kind of thing. Okay, and then other than the desk chair, were there other items down there that you then eventually wanted to tell or did decide to tell law enforcement about? What did you see there?
What do you quite mean?
Well, in relation to the chair, were there other items that you saw that were in the vicinity of the chair?
The tape and rope?
Okay, so what kind of tape are we talking about?
Like
Duct tape?
Duct tape, just normal duct tape.
All right, and what kind of rope? Really thin or thick, or what do you remember about the rope?
It's like heavy duty, thick rope.
Okay, and do you remember what condition they were in? Were they old, new? What do you remember about it?
They weren't old.
Okay.
It didn't seem like they were old.
All right, and where were they located in relation to this chair that...
Man, he really thought his kid, or I think the other ones were like maybe 3 or 4, so when they were like really, really young. But he really thought his daughter was either not going to testify against him, or maybe she would forget or something. Jesus.
Sounds like it's in the basement?
Yeah.
Okay, so where were they in relation to the chair, the desk chair you mentioned?
On them? Like
On
he was
them?
sitting on the seat.
Okay. And you last saw those supplies on May 17th on the Sunday before your mom picked you up?
Yes.
Hello, prosecutor? Who are you waiting for?
Judge, this would be a logical time for us to take a break.
All right, let's break it
He's like, shit, I ain't got nothing else. Can we take a break, please?
to this point. Yeah, talk about the case. We'd watch it.
All right, we're taking a little break. A little break right here. Okay, so right now that's the prosecutor that's asking questions. Oh, see what's going on.
His mother and others, everybody, you're all being watched. Believe me, nothing that would be, in my opinion, an effort to influence the child in any way or make.
Oh, I think this is when they're talking about possibly the mother giving signals to the daughter and then the dad giving the signal to the daughter. But when, you know, when the mom went up there and explained, so the daughter, oh wait, actually, no. I don't think the defense attorney questioned her yet. Okay. What are we talking about?
More difficult.
The zipping thing?
Will be tolerated and it will be addressed rapidly. I have not seen anything either from the defendant or from mother that I thought was any kind of a problem.
Completely defer to the court. Just wanted to be sure the court was thinking about it.
No, it's a reason.
Okay. All right. Let's skip through this a little bit. Oh,
Some mother and father are here and on adverse sides of a case, and the child's got a very, very difficult experience.
I think Court TV does like a little video about this. We'll watch that one instead. But let's skip through this. Let's go back to the daughter's testimony. Yeah, we're in Kenosha right now. All right, they're talking to the judge. We're still going on for a little mini break. All right, got a long break, and we're back.
The tree farm. At your father's residence, what, if anything, do you know about drugs being produced there, made there somehow?
Quite a bit.
Okay. So what drugs do you remember being produced there in some fashion?
Marijuana.
Okay. Any others?
Not that was grown.
Okay. And as to marijuana, what do you know about what was happening at that residence? Meaning your dad's residence, the defendant.
I'm gonna do 1.25.
He was growing it.
Where in the house was it being grown?
In between the kitchen and living room.
Okay. On the top level or on the bottom level, if you know?
No, main floor.
Okay. And what do you remember about the process that you saw? How was it being done?
Ricta, his facial expression.
There were a lot of plants there, and
Do you believe you know how many?
I do.
How many?
72.
Okay.
Oh, how did she know the exact
And
number?
What do you remember about how they were being grown?
My dad had a water system, and they were just in rows, and there was a place to dry them in the back, and it wasn't anything like a little small operation.
Okay. So describe the water system. What do you remember about that?
It was just like,
Judge, I'm going to object as far as relevance into going all the minute details of the operation.
Well, we are getting,
Now, where's this going?
keep in mind, and it's been true throughout the trial, there are materials coming in that are not directly pertinent to the crimes charged in the information. And I've sustained objections to some of them. I also spoke with you earlier about some of the things that were let in that might ordinarily not have been let in, but
Okay.
for our evidentiary rules, I've permitted.
Oh, he's writing a lot over there. Look at his attorney's face. What are they writing?
This, well, I'll leave it at that. Keep in mind that the defendant is not charged with anything related
Drugs.
to drug offense.
Okay.
And also, it's being permitted for legitimate reasons in the case, which I'm not going to go into right now. But you're not to allow it to convince you that he has a character trait or a bad character, and that he acted in conformity with that
Okay.
in respect to the offenses charged against him. It's what's called.
Judge got a little Mickey Mouse pet at his desk.
It's admitted for limited purposes, limited admissibility.
Okay. All right.
time. It just took a lot of time to build it and make everything work the way he wanted it to.
And what, if anything, can you say about observing the defendant tending the plants, busy tending the plants at times you were there?
Yeah,
Okay. And so what did you see him do that was tending the plants?
just trimming them, cutting, just like
Why are we asking what the plant?
normal like plant keeping, I guess. Like if you were to grow marijuana, like it would just be like a normal plant process of growing them and like trimming them and stuff.
And what, if anything, can you say about approximately when they were harvested, if you know?
No, I really don't know. That was something that he definitely did on his own time.
Okay. And what, if anything, do you know about whether, what, if anything, did the defendant say about how much of it he had sold? What was your understanding of how much had been
The
sold?
last time I talked to my dad, well, not necessarily talked to him. It was probably a week before I actually last talked to him. He told me that he had gotten rid of it all, which then when they had went through the house, I found out was not true.
Okay. So when he said he got rid of it all, what did that mean?
Like he had sold everything that he had harvested from it.
Okay. So now I'm just going to show you a couple of quick pictures. So the first, State's
All right.
Exhibit 1.
Pictures. We get to see it. Why are we looking at this? Okay, pot.
State's Exhibit 1, 3.
All right,
Was there
mushrooms.
something,
She's already said she doesn't know what it is.
well,
Well, this is actually a separate question.
yeah. Was there something?
I don't know what that is. In the fridge, you were asking.
Yep.
I don't know what they were used for necessarily. There were mushrooms of some sort in the door side in a opening somewhere where you would keep your butter, right? In the fridge where you would put your sticks of butter. That's where it was, in his fridge.
And were the mushrooms stored in jars of this type?
I have no idea.
Okay, I'm saying when you saw them in the fridge.
No, they were in a bag.
Very good.
To me, that does not look like a mushroom.
Okay.
So,
What does a mushroom look like that you saw at your dad's house?
they were.
No object to relevance.
I assume we're at the very end of
Yep,
this?
we are,
Yeah,
very end.
Okay. You can try to answer the question if you like.
Okay. I don't know. They were just
Hi, glitter
they were
beauties.
like an off-white with some like brown of some sort, and they were just really thin. I remember them being very thin, like almost miniature slim mushrooms.
Hold on for just a moment.
He looks unhappy. Oh my god. Were they trying to? I mean, I don't know. Were they implying that he was feeding their kids like THC butter or something like that, cooking with it?
Car seat.
Correct.
What was found?
I'm going to object. This is something that she has no personal knowledge of
I
and
do.
would have been told.
I do.
Well, when we're
About
talking
the finding.
personal knowledge in the courts, we're talking about something you've seen with your own senses or heard with your own ears?
He's told her about it. He's told her
has.
about it. The defendant has told her.
Well,
Yes.
it's-
Hold on. I'm asking her to be quiet.
when you say you know what was the source of your information? He told you. What's your objection?
This prosecutor is not really my favorite though, because I don't know, but whatever, it's okay.
So just how the question was phrased made it seem it wasn't, did the defendant say?
Okay.
So if that's what it's going to be, then that's fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sorry. It was a foundational question
It's
to
fine.
get there. Yeah.
fine.
So did you come at some point to know that a phone had been found under one of your little brother's car seats?
In fact, I knew about it. He had told me about this phone that he put underneath there, and in fact,
Wait, so he put a phone in one of his kids' child seat, spy on the girlfriend, asked his daughter to plant the phone in a car again, asked his daughter to plant the phone in the AC vent. Oh my God.
he instructed me to
What was he trying to get out of this by spying on them? Was he like waiting for them to like talk crap about him or something? Was he trying to wait for them to like do sexy time? Like, what was he doing with it? Like, what was the point of all this?
watch where my mother was going on his desktop, and it tracked all the way to Mr. Gutierrez's house.
Oh, was he trying to find out where the boyfriend was living?
So at some point you saw that on a computer as well.
Correct.
Okay.
My God.
And
Showed it to his kid.
Of physical discovery that I'm going to need for my cross-examination.
Go ahead,
Thank you.
Mark.
Is it cross-examination time?
Um, 2020, right?
I probably
Changed
Oh.
it to weekend. Wanna wa-
Cross-examination. Okay. Cross-examination time. It gets a little bit spicy. I was afraid that the dad's lawyer would try to steamroll over the kid, but it seemed like there were some parts where she was able to stand her ground.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I want to I'm going to be walking through a bunch of things that the state went through with you, but I also want to go through some other details. First thing is we'll start with the weekend you were at the tree farm. Mm-hmm. You, the state had said Sunday the 17th, changed it to the weekend, but you were there on Saturday, May 16th, 2020, right?
I probably was. I don't really remember the quite dates like that.
Okay.
Like referencely like that. But yes, it was somewhere around that time.
So because after you went to the tree farm, did you go back home and spend the night at your dad's?
You probably are right. It is Saturday.
Okay, because you remembered that afterwards you went home and spent the night.
Correct.
And when you were at the tree farm, there were other people there, right?
So the tree farm, I guess, is where one of the smoldering fire pits was found. I guess they think that he possibly, I don't know. Are they saying that he possibly burned the body in the fire pits? Or they're just saying that like, oh, he disposed of the evidence in the fire pits, but they have no idea what they did with the body, what he did with the body.
Who else was there?
I know One of my uncles was. I remember my grandpa being there.
Oh, his side of the family?
That's really it.
Was your aunt there?
I don't remember.
And you said your grandfather and then one of your uncles, was that Solomon Anderson?
No.
Joshua Anderson?
Correct.
Okay.
Tree farm, we
So
back
you
in
go to the tree
Moselle.
farm, and what did you do that day?
Hung out at the tree farm. We were planting like new like seedlings and stuff.
Were they planting sunflower seeds?
In the
Oh, no.
field. I don't know. It was just a normal day at the farm. Like there wasn't anything off.
And you said you and your brothers went,
Yeah.
and your dad. And so you guys get there, you're going to have a good day at the tree farm. When you get there, what do you do when you first get there?
Said hi to everybody.
So you got out of the car,
Yeah.
and then you went and said hi to everyone.
Yeah.
And then what did you do? After you said hi to everyone, what did you do next? You said you were planting saplings, things of that sort. So did you go out into the fields? Like that's basically what I'm trying to get at.
Sorry, before you said my aunt, correct?
Yeah, I asked if your aunt was there.
I think that you would be referring to Zenith.
Correct.
Yes, she was there. Me, her, Josh, my dad, Grandpa,
The boys.
the boys. Well, I think
So
that was really who was it.
Yeah, so after you get out of the car, you say hi to everyone who's there. What do you do next at the tree farm that day?
I don't quite understand.
So,
Okay. If you're asking what I was doing, I was hanging out with my little brothers.
okay, and were you hanging out in the barn? Were you hanging out in the fields? Where exactly were you hanging out
We
with
were
your
hanging
brothers?
out in the vehicle.
You were hanging out in the vehicle?
We had went back to the vehicle, and then we ran around out in the field. Like, I mean, the tree farm's pretty big. There's a lot of things for kids to do there, so, I mean, we just ran around, explored. I don't know.
Yeah, so you're out and about. You're not playing in the car.
No, not necessarily. No.
You're out on the whole tree farm, which it is big. Lots of things to do there.
Yeah.
Okay, where's she getting at?
And so then after you're playing, hanging out, do you all get dinner together? Or do you go back in the car and go back to your dad's house?
We probably stopped for food on the way back, I'm sure, because it was a long ride, but otherwise we went back to the house and ate lunch there and then took a nap because
Because I was wondering if it would be possible if he had the body with him in the backseat of the van while he was driving his kids around. I don't know. I don't know if that's where the prosecutors were going at when they were asking about the van earlier, but maybe not. Because that would also be crazy. But would I be surprised? No, because his dad's already brought his kids around all the other things, you know?
it was part of our schedule.
And so when you were there for that day then, when you were at the tree farm, you were playing with your brothers. When you were playing with your brothers, was your dad around?
He was planting the seedlings, so no.
Okay.
He was like out in the like
Yeah, where was
over in
he?
two different fields. So
Because
no.
there's like kind of a front field and a back field, right?
The front field.
You were in the front field.
He was in the front field.
Okay.
I was not.
Okay, so you couldn't see him.
I could see him,
But
I
you-
just wasn't around him.
Okay. And he was with Josh and his dad?
Yeah, I had gone back there like a couple of times just to see what they were doing, you know, and stuff like that. But otherwise,
Yeah.
I wasn't like back there all the time.
And so when they were conversing, if you weren't there, you wouldn't be able to hear them, though, about what they were talking about.
No.
Okay. So your testimony earlier was that when you were in the van, you were sitting in the front seat, and the boys were sitting in the back seat of the van, and that there were no seats in the middle. And
Oh, God, she has a can of sardines underneath her seat in the front. Dad, what are these open sardine cans in here, Dad? What is this? Were you eating them and you forgot about them and just put them underneath the seat?
could you see that space in between perfectly without obstruction?
Yeah.
There was nothing. So in that,
There was obviously my own dad's junk in his own car, because that's pretty normal. But, I mean, other than the normal stuff that was in the car already, no, there were no middle seats.
and there was nothing else on the carpet other than some trash and
Maybe some clothes or something. I don't know.
clothes.
Just typical stuff.
Typical man stuff.
Hey, Lisa, thank you so much for the $9.99. Yeah, a couple people told me it's the same judge from Rittenhouse. Thank you. I appreciate the super chat. Thanks so much.
Up in a van.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Counsel, would you be so kind to pull up the exhibit of the 0?
State's Exhibit 1, number 260.
Thank you. Earlier,
Yes.
and you had said that you did not observe the van like this on the 16th, right?
No, I did not.
So, I hate to make you.
Yeah, because the daughter is saying that like the bleach stains weren't there before the alleged murder, but it seems that the bleach stains showed up afterwards. But let's see what the defendant or the defending attorney is going to say.
Get up. Maybe I'll just get up. Judge, can I have your stick?
What's going on here? Something about the judge's dick.
Thank you. Okay, so if the back seats were in, they would be locked in right here. Correct?
Yeah.
So if the seats are there,
Sorry, guys, we're in a fishbowl right now.
you're not necessarily going to be able to see directly underneath.
No, there was carpet underneath there.
You could see completely underneath.
Oh, so she's saying that, like, well, if you sat in the front, how are you able to see if there were stains in the back seat from all the way in the front?
I could see completely underneath the seats. That seat was not like that.
Okay, and you're saying that there was nothing in this area? Just open.
I mean, besides what my dad's stuff was in his car, no. There was nothing out of the ordinary.
So where was the chainsaw?
In the trunk?
Where in the trunk? The back seats are back there.
No. The trunk cuts off right behind those seats.
So there's enough space with the back seats.
The the back seat, stops right where you're
Right
pointing.
here. So you're saying the chainsaw was right here?
Correct.
When did you see the chainsaw? And I'm good with that exhibit, thank you. Thank you.
When we had gone to the tree farm, I noticed that my uncle, grandpa, and dad were exchanging or fixing his, so that we had brought it there to fix the chainsaw. At the same time, my dad was also cutting down trees.
Oh, much better.
So.
Okay.
So, you remember speaking with detectives on multiple occasions, right?
Which one?
I'm just saying, it was not just one time that you spoke with detectives, there were multiple times.
Yeah.
The first time was when you and your mom went to the police department on May 19th, 2020. That was the first time, right? You guys went there together?
I'm not sure. I've met with so many different people and talked about this situation with so many different people.
Yeah, I'm not really sure where the lawyer was going with that. Was she either trying to say that, like, oh, you couldn't see whether or not there were stains in the back, or was she trying to say that, like, oh, like, did you see there was a chainsaw back there, or maybe the chainsaw doesn't fit in the trunk? Like, where do you think she was trying to go with that?
Probably couldn't even recall any of the times that you're about to ask me.
Okay. But the first time, so then do you remember it wasn't until the first time you met with law enforcement, you didn't tell them anything about a chainsaw, correct?
Correct. I didn't feel that it was very needed since it wasn't used for this case.
So you said, though, that one of the times you talked to detectives that while you were at the farm, your dad never took that chainsaw out of the van. Do you remember telling detectives that?
I don't remember saying that.
And then keep in mind when the murder happened, she was 12 years old. 12, okay? So she was a 12-year-old, 13-year-old being questioned by detectives and stuff like that. She's like 14, 15 now.
Possible you said that?
Not sure.
So what happened then? Maybe if you could explain now. Did he never take the chainsaw?
No, he
out of the
definitely
van?
took the chainsaw.
Okay, so
He definitely brought it into the barn, and they were fixing on it and doing chain stuff on it and seeing what was wrong with the chain. Oh yeah, I remember that like the back of my hand. He definitely took it out of the vehicle and brought it into the barn.
Okay.
So then you wouldn't have said that he never took the.
No, like I said, I did not say that.
You did not say that. That would be a lie if you said that.
Objection. To call something a lie would be to.
Lie is one form of.
Oh, man. I like how the kid is pushing back.
I will rephrase.
Statement. Go ahead.
Thank you. That would be an untrue statement.
Same objection.
Well, inaccurate.
That would not.
Possibly.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
It's not what you saw.
I'm saying I'm not sure, but I do remember him bringing a chainsaw to the tree farm and him taking it out of the van and bringing it to the workshop.
And do you remember saying that your dad was wearing flip-flops when he got to the tree farm, and that he then changed into your grandfather's boots when he was there?
I do remember saying that, actually.
And your dad wore flip-flops
All the time.
All the time. Even in, like, weird weather where...
I mean, snowing, sleet, heavy packed snow, he's wearing sandals. There's no question.
Even when it makes literally
No sense. Yeah, sandals.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's trying to bond with the kid now?
Rain, snow, like you said, everything.
Okay.
And a lot of times, too, he would wear these sandals and then change into different shoes when he was at the farm.
He always had other shoes. He just preferred to wear his flip-flops if he was running in and out of somewhere, or just anything simple. My dad was very simple, so for him to wear flip-flops all the time, it was just easy for him.
Yeah. And his being simple also translated to his style, right?
I guess I'm going to object to questions about the defendant's style.
Yeah, where are we going?
It's irrelevant.
The state talked about everything he was wearing. That's where I'm going with this.
Well,
Oh, okay.
Whether it was fashionable or not would be irrelevant.
It doesn't sound like it's terribly relevant.
Okay. Your dad had, like, the same clothes he would wear all the time, the same style. When I'm saying style, I don't mean something that's
He
stylish.
had different pairs of those clothes.
Exactly. He had this jeans and white T-shirt.
It was his go-to. I mean, waking up, sleeping, he was in jeans, maybe shorts sometimes, but mainly just jeans and a white tee.
Okay. And so when you saw him on, and not saying he's dirty, but he didn't have a washer and dryer at his house.
Oh, dirty.
Okay. And so
I'm going to call that Why do you not have a washer and dryer at his house? Oh, God. I mean, hold on, let me think. Not having a dryer, sure, because you can hang dry your clothes. You can't get no washer? What?
So he had, on the 16th, when you were at the tree farm, he was wearing...
But he has a tree farm that has lots of land. How was he throwing his laundry?
his, before he changed into the boots, the flip-flops, jeans, white T-shirt.
My dad washed his clothes. I mean, there were times where he washed his clothes. Like, he just
Where?
had multiple pairs. And if you're asking me about his style, he wore the same thing every day. Like, literally every single day. There was nothing new about him. He doesn't change ever. Like,
Hey, Emily.
he's just him. I don't know.
Yeah. And so I want to go back, though, to the tree farm. He was wearing a white T-shirt, blue jeans, flip-flops. And when on the 17th, when your mom picked you up, he was wearing blue jeans,
Same thing.
the same thing. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Blue jeans?
Why does that not seem like my dad's size and know those are not his?
These aren't his?
Can I see them as well?
Sure.
I know she's still looking at them. I don't want to touch them. Is it all right if you... I just want you to...
Levi's? I'm confused. He never wore Levi's.
Okay, so she's saying something that he likes because he's like nodding, smiling a little bit.
I could be wrong. I'm not sure.
How to start a load of clothes, what did I miss? The defendant does not own a washer or a dryer. We don't know how he washes his clothes.
Okay.
It's also been a while, so I'm not really...
And I didn't think you'd memorize, like, each article.
On the witnesses.
You didn't memorize.
Ask another
You
question.
didn't memorize each article of your dad's clothing, right?
Not like that. I mean, once you kind of know him, you're just like, yeah, he wears jeans and a t-shirt. Like, I didn't really focus on brands like that.
Do these look similar to jeans your dad would wear?
The pockets do. The back does.
The back does?
For sure.
I need to do my laundry too. But I have a very small time gap when I can do my laundry because I think like we said it, so electricity is cheap overnight up until like 10 a.m. I think. So I have to do laundry before 10 a.m. And I don't do weekends anymore because now we have a roommate. Yeah, people still do laundromats.
Next one's gonna be Defense Exhibit 299.
But this dude has like, I don't know, it seems like he has some money. He's got like he's got like a tree plot land and he's got another farm. It seems to be really inconvenient to go to a laundromat. I don't know.
The written material you just sent.
No, it does not actually.
Okay.
His
Why?
t-shirts I actually did pay attention to. His t-shirts were a different brand.
Mm-hmm. Electric Bell, yeah.
To me, that does not look like his t-shirt.
But you said before you didn't know every single article.
I have his t-shirts. I have pairs of his t-shirts, which is why I know why.
But you
What his
don't-
t-shirts are.
You don't have every single one of them.
No.
Okay.
Oh, has anyone ever stolen your clothes before? When I was visiting my friend who, she used to live in like New York City. Like usually if you live in like big cities, a lot of times they won't have like washer dryers in the unit. You have to go to a laundromat. But yeah, I remember having to bring my laundry, or she had to bring her laundry down, but she had these like really scary, super steep stairs, like almost like Japanese staircases, where it felt like it was just like straight up vertical, and she had to go like up and down to bring her laundry and stuff. And I was like, oh my God. Okay.
For Mr. Gutierrez, and one of them was Booger, and that he called them because what he saw by the window. But you also testified that you were right there by the window.
I was.
So were you able to see
After.
that too?
After.
Oh, so the dad, when he was spying on the mom and the new boyfriend, right? The dad told the daughter, oh, make sure you cover your breath up like this so your breath doesn't appear on the window. It's like, oh my God, this guy, it looks like he's got some like stalking skills. Like he must know from experience or something.
After.
So you weren't there the whole time?
The timing is mixed up. I was in the car when he had went. There were 2 times. He went the first time by himself, and the second time he went with me.
Wow.
Like up to the house. Same night, 2 different times.
All right. This is when he was stalking the mom and brought the daughter on her like 13th birthday or something to go stalk them.
Where were you in the vehicle that you could see everything that Mr. Anderson was doing? So on direct, right? You said right now you're saying there were 2 times. The first time was you pull in and in the bar, near the bar, right? That's
My
what you
father
said.
had told me what he saw.
Well,
Like
no,
up front, had told me what he saw in the car through the window. If that is your question. I was not standing next to that window when he was looking at Mr. Gucci.
Wait, let me slow it down to 1. I don't know if it sounds spicier because it's at 1.25 or it's just really spicy.
Cheers the first time. I went up the second time. He had told me about this, but in the same way, I had seen him go around that corner.
So I want to break
Like a
down
creep.
kind of what you saw versus what you heard from someone else.
Okay.
So you pull in. You said that your dad had a video recording device. And then at some point he went behind to put another cell phone in the air conditioning unit. Right? That's behind the house.
Yeah.
But you're now saying
It's
you
on
were
the
in
side of the
but
house.
You're now saying you were in the car this whole time. You're not out running around the house with your dad.
Objection. Hold on. She has explained that there's 2 different sections. She's out at sometimes and not at others.
I'm asking about the first
no,
time.
No, actually, you're not asking. You're saying what you understand the situation to have been.
Actually.
So you can ask what the truth of it is,
Okay.
and then the district attorney is reporting what he thought the testimony was. So why don't you rephrase your question?
The crazy cat lady. This chat must be a certain age group: bird watching, gardening, laundry, and murder.
I want to break it down a little bit further. You're saying there were 2 times your dad went up to the house that evening, right?
Correct.
The first time, you didn't get out of the vehicle.
No.
So I'm only talking about the first time.
Okay.
The first time you said you saw your dad with a recording device and that you also saw your dad put a cell phone into the air conditioning unit.
Correct.
During this time, you are still in the vehicle.
Yes.
It's dark outside.
But light enough where you can still see.
You said it was the middle of the night.
It is. That doesn't mean I have 20/20 vision.
I used to have 20/20 vision. I don't know more.
So I can see.
Oh, okay. So you then explain to me your mom's house from where you were parked. You were parked in the bar lot?
Yes.
And were you sitting in the front seat?
Yes.
And you were in the van?
No.
You were in the Audi?
Yes.
She was sitting in the front seat of the Audi.
Okay, so he's got an Audi and he's got a van. How does he do his laundry?
Which way are you facing?
We are backed up. So me sitting in the car, I am facing the tail of the car. I'm looking at the house. I'm looking, when Dad left the car, I was looking to see where he was going, what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're facing the house. What wall of the house are you facing?
Have you seen a picture of the house?
Yeah.
Okay,
I am. So
I am on the bar side.
That's such a teenage response. Oh man, this reminds me of my sister when she was a teenager. Sassy.
I am near the back of the house. I am on, if you're looking at it from the field. I don't think you're listening.
What was she answering? Sorry. I was trying to read the chat and then I was reading David's joke.
On, if you're looking at it from the field. I don't think you're listening.
Still not listening. You know she heard that comment, but then she doesn't want to respond because now she's like, oh shit, I'm being fired by a teenager. Fired up. How old is the daughter now? I read an article that said she was 14 and then I heard that she was 15. So 14 or 15? Judge just chilling.
So I'm just a little confused because you're saying you're on the bar side.
Okay.
And the door with the window is on the complete opposite side of the house.
Correct. That does not mean that I did not see him turn that corner and when he came back to tell me what he had saw.
Okay, so again, I only want to know
Yeah, and
what...
I am. I'm telling you.
Just a moment. Please listen to the whole question and then answer, okay? Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. I only want to know what you saw, not what... We can get into what he told you later. This is only what you saw. Mm-hmm. So you couldn't see that door. You could not see that window from where you were parked.
Correct.
Okay.
So then when he comes back, you said you get in the car and you kind of pull out, but you don't completely leave, right?
What?
So you said there were 2 times that he went to the house. And in your direct testimony, you said he got back in the car and then went to drive away, but then stopped and got out again. And that was when you came out of the vehicle.
Judge,
right?
Again, that mischaracterizes the testimony. She indicated he came back, he got her.
Okay.
Then there's a third incident where he leaves the car where they partially leave. So the when she is retrieved from the car.
How many times did you get out of the car?
I got out twice.
How many times did your dad get out of the car?
3 times. Twice. Because he did not get out of the car the second time when he came to get me. When we were still parked at the bar, he did not come and he came and got me. He didn't sit in the car, drive away.
So he didn't enter the car?
No, not fully. So he only got out twice and I only got out twice.
So
Okay.
the second time then, well, you got out 2 times?
Do I need to re-explain
No. Please, you can answer a question without.
So apparently, I was watching court TV. I didn't see this whole segment. Only saw the little small tiny bit of it, right? So apparently, the dad gets in trouble for doing the zip it signal to the daughter, right? Because he doesn't want her like talking as much. One. But apparently the defense were also like, well, the mom was also making signals to the daughter too. And the mom was like, yeah, I started making signals to my daughter because she was acting real sassy up on the stand. And, you know, my mom reaction was like, kind of like. So I can see why the mom like instinctively reacted to the daughter on the stand when she was getting a little sassy and, you know, a little bit fiery up there.
No. Please, you can answer.
The second time, then, well, you got out 2 times?
Do I need to re-explain?
No. Please, you can answer a question without a question.
I'm confused.
Okay, well, let's do this. No, let's not.
I'll just ask a different question.
Beautiful.
What was the
Beautiful.
second time, well, the first time you got out of the car then?
It was to go up to the house, to the window that you're talking about, where I can see through the crack of the shades. And that's when he told me to go like this with my shirt. So then the breath marks didn't get on the window.
Oh, God, what a creep.
And then you went back to the car?
And then we did. We both, at that point, had gone back to the car. And we were pulling away. And then we got to, it depends on which way you're going, but the second entry to our driveway.
I mean, honestly, I guess the defense is trying to say that, like, well, you didn't witness all of this, so how do you know it really happened? And she's like, well, my dad told me. It's like, oh, what if your dad was just lying to you? I don't know. Like, I don't really see the point of any of this, really. This is just reminding the jury how batshit crazy the dad is.
It was the bigger open end to our driveway, and he stops, gets out, and I get out and I'm like, what are you doing? And I see him taking pictures of his license, of Mr. Gutierrez's license plate, taking his registration. Somewhere in the time I didn't see him, but he turned the corner, got the phone, rang the doorbell, and came back to the car, and then we left.
So you didn't see him go to the air conditioning unit?
I did not see him go to the air conditioning unit. Correct, but I did see him bring back the phone.
The prosecutor.
Did you see him go to the air conditioning unit that first time?
Yes.
That doesn't look good.
So
this is called the obsessed ex-boyfriend murder trial. He's on stand for the murder of his ex-girlfriend, who's also the mother of his 3 children, murder of his ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend. He apparently stalked them. He got the daughter to stalk them too. He like planted like phones in the house and the car to try to capture their conversations and to capture where she was driving around, where they were going. And this is his daughter testifying against him. And it's kind of wild.
did your mom ever talk to you about what she observed that evening?
I mean, she's my mother. There are things to be discussed about that I don't know how to answer your question.
He didn't kill the mom. The mom is still alive. She testifies on the stand too. But he's on trial for the murder of the mom's boyfriend.
Well, the question wasn't about the content. It was, did your mother ever discuss the matter
A bit.
with you?
Okay. And when did she have that conversation with you? Was it
A while
close?
ago.
It was close to that time.
Yeah.
And she told you that she thought it was your dad.
No.
No?
No. I knew.
Well, I'm saying, what did she say? I'm not asking what
I already
you
knew
thought.
everything that my mom knew. She wasn't telling me anything that I didn't know already.
Okay. And do you remember telling her that you actually weren't there?
I do remember telling her that. I did.
Oh God, she's gonna try to insinuate that the kid's lying about all this.
And that you just knew what had happened because of a video you watched and from what your dad told you?
Yes.
I mean, there's still a video. Oh my God, were they able to get a hold of all these spy videos that he had? Or is that why because in the fire pit, apparently there was a camera in there. Maybe he burned the camera and the memory card too. Burn the laptop?
Of all of this, I did not come out.
I didn't have a question.
I was finishing your fucking question.
This lady is so mad. Oh. Teenagers can be tough to deal with. Man, I remember when we were teenagers, when my sister was a teenager. Oh my Lord. Anyone out there, if you guys got a teenager right now, good luck. Yeah, I mean, we've seen so many trials where, people on the witness stand just get steamrolled, right?
On May 19th, 2020, do you remember a time where your mom had left to go down to Kenosha to check on Mr. Gutierrez?
A bit.
Okay. And prior to that happening, your mom had had a conversation with you about how she was worried her friend was missing, right?
Objection. I think it calls for hearsay.
It's already been testified to, Judge.
I believe it's still a hearsay statement.
It's funny, like she was trying to be buddy buds with the teenager in the stand, and at some point she just gave up. She's like, "No, that ain't gonna happen."
I mean, even though it's been testified to.
It's an in-court statement.
We're going to break at this point, and please don't talk about the case. Read, watch, or listen to any account of the trial.
You have one teenager left? Ages range from 20 to 39.
And let's try to start again at 1 o'clock. Is that convenient? Okay, thanks.
Ooh, this is a long break. It's a long break. What are they breaking for? 3 hours, 4 hours, an hour and a half.
Her daughter about her concerns about her friend that was missing. Those were in-court statements.
Nice, Kim.
Any response?
Yeah, I think that to ask this witness
Tim.
about that statement is still hearsay. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The out-of-court statement for this witness is an out-of-court statement. So the fact that it's been that it's in through a different party does not make it an in-court statement.
You're right. It does, however, affect the application of the rule.
All right, so they go at this for quite a bit, actually. Jesus.
The
Okay.
objection's overruled.
All right. I'm not okay. I don't think there's an exception, but I don't want to belabor it, Judge. I do want us to continue. So thank you for the ruling. I do.
Oh, the mom testifies afterward.
So the court provided the parties an email. Mine, it appears the communication to you was at 11:31 a.m. I think.
Well, just so it's clear, it did not come directly to me. The clerk got it. Did you get it as a forward or?
I'm gonna forward a bit.
We did.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, mine is headed your name. That's the only reason I indicated it was provided by you. The message, as the court is aware, is that Court TV showed a clip where the defendant used his two fingers and placed them over his lips as his daughter was testifying to suggest to not say anything.
Mm-hmm.
We are aware now. Court TV has played this clip multiple times.
Yep.
They have even slowed it down to be sure that their viewing audience was able to clearly see what happened, the gesture. So we have a copy of what they have played. But there are commentators who are speaking over it, so we cannot tell what the specific question is that it's in relation to, which I feel would be important to the court to know.
Oh, yeah, that would be good.
It certainly would be important to the state. We have asked Court TV, who have indicated that if the court orders Court TV to provide an original copy that does not have the commentator's voiceover, that they would provide that pursuant to.
Yeah, because I was waiting for that hand signal. I was like, when does he do the hand signal? But I never saw it. So I guess only Court TV has it.
Ordering that in this courtroom today, and then all the parties would be able to see that clip and know specifically when the defendant makes the gesture, which clearly has occurred because we've seen video of it, what the context is. We know his daughter was testifying. We don't know what the question was or where she was in her answer. I am asking the court to briefly take a look at what we have. I'm asking the court for an order to Court TV so that we may finish our investigation of this. And if we have any additional information we think is relevant, we'll bring it to the court.
Yeah, share with us.
The court will remember I expressed a concern earlier that I wanted the court to be as diligent as it felt appropriate to try to make sure that this minor child was not in a position where she was being influenced. And so I asked the court to also at this point impose.
All right.
Did I say? Yeah.
See what the judge says.
The other side, because they're not filming Olivia. I will note that there were times, and that I did observe, that when the state was asking their question, while asking, Mr. Anderson's daughter would look over at him and would mouth something just mouth something. I can't say what it is. I can't say when that happened. I did not personally observe Mr. Anderson make these gestures. I've watched it now on here, but so I can't say if it was in response to that or not. But I will say that that was occurring, and it could be that that was a response to her mouthing while the state was asking a question.
Oh, okay. Decent response, but we don't know if that's true.
So that would be the only thing I have to add to that.
The clip, and we would like at least to show the court what has been broadcast by Court TV now multiple times. So
Court TV, show us.
And I've been requested to order it, and to me, orders are last resorts.
Okay.
So apparently, excuse me, this has been brought to our attention too. Obviously, we can't see everything that's going on, but that Ms. Beecham is apparently a certified in ASL, American Sign Language, and Olivia knows the language. And the observers that reported to us said that she was signing to her. I don't know what about. One thing that was mentioned was calm down. What else was signed to her? I don't know. You know, and I have no idea if Court TV would have picked it.
Yeah, Court TV does a little thing on it. Okay, let's watch the Court TV thing. This is what I was talking about earlier that I wanted to watch. Court TV. Where is it? I watched it this morning. Go through my history. Court TV. Huh? Oh, it was. I think they mixed it. Oh, it was this video.
Also found in Anderson's car, along with burn pits that were found on two properties connected to Anderson. The defendant reportedly roped the 14-year-old daughter's defense claim that her mother, Sadie Beecham, who was also in the gallery, may have been doing some sign language herself to tell her daughter what to say. Terry, what is going on here? Obviously, you can't give people any kinds of signals while they're testifying.
Well, that's rule number one. You are not supposed to be signaling. That means anyone in the audience. That means the defendant. That means the parties. You cannot signal to a witness on the stand. That testimony has to be her own testimony, and she can't be coached. And like you said, there are accusations, and the accusations came from inside and outside the courtroom. That one, the defendant told his daughter to close her mouth, and two, also that Sadie was signaling calm down when the daughter was very agitated. So I think the right thing to do was the fact that, you know, the judge let them work it out. Both parties decided, look, let's not make a big deal out of this. They were going to have a mini hearing, and they did put Sadie up on the stand, but at the end of the day, they decided to just, you know, listen to what
that's why she goes up with the stand afterwards. I was like, okay, are we done with the daughter's testimony? All right.
was going on as far as the daughter was concerned. So I definitely think that it was a big issue in this case, and watching him do that sign language was really interesting.
Get the duct tape out!
Because it does seem like it was something that he said to the judge to me. Take a listen at what Sadie Beecham's response was when she was asked directly whether she was using sign language to coach her daughter.
Were you signing her instructions about what to say or anything else?
No. My hands were below the pews.
Okay. were you communicating with her in any other way without your hands, either facial
Oh, so she didn't use her hands to sign calm down.
expressions or whatever?
There was a moment where she got a little sassy up here, and my initial mom response was to go, shh, 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 shh. So if I did that, that would have been the only thing that I can recall I did.
I mean, I thought that was reasonable.
I understand how she felt, but she really shouldn't have signaled at all.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think it's pretty interesting. Brian, I want to talk about the judge in this case, Judge Bruce Schrader. He's the judge who recently oversaw the Kyle Rittenhouse case. There have been times during this trial where he seems to be having some trouble. Listen to this.
Yeah, I feel like it was just like a reaction. Okay, so now we know why the mom goes up to shortly afterwards. That was like, oh, the mom's testifying? All right, so that's the mom right there. Yeah, mom's testifying on a little mini thing. And then we go back to the daughter at some point. Okay, they're still figuring all this out right now. I think we're back to the questioning.
Judge, I'm going to ask the same question that I asked before. I believe the objection was overruled.
I can't remember that far back.
You repeat the question, though?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. On May 18th, 2020, the day before your mom had gone to look for Mr. Gutierrez, your mom had told you that she was concerned that her friend was missing.
I don't recall that personally.
Do you recall your mom talking to you at all about Mr. Gutierrez the day before?
Absolutely not.
So she didn't do that?
My mother and me never had a conversation about Mr. Gutierrez ever. Except for after.
So prior to when your mom went down to Kenosha to look for her friend, she had never told you anything about Mr. Gutierrez?
In fact, that day that you're talking about, I was sitting at home. I was doing homework when I kept on calling my mother. I was trying to figure out where she is. She wasn't home on time. And I was just overall just like, where is she? And so when I had called her, she had said, you know, something happened, I'll be home shortly, and then returned about 2 hours later and told me that we needed to go to Kenosha County.
Okay, so again, I just want to be clear. Prior to that moment, she had never discussed Mr. Gutierrez with you at all?
No.
Nothing about him?
No.
Nothing about his family?
No.
Nothing about his friends?
Like, I wonder if they were only dating for a short period of time.
Not like that.
Nothing about his kids?
Yes.
Okay, so she did talk to you about him.
There was a minor conversation when she had found the phone. And when she found the phone, it was... And she tried to tell me. That time was when I told her that I had seen a video of Mr. Gutierrez, and she tried to tell me that he was not a bad person and how he had kids and how that he just wasn't overall what my dad was saying to me about him.
So then, just to go back, she had talked to you about him?
Correct. I'm sorry, I did not remember correctly.
Okay. And didn't you also have a conversation with him after you, about who he was after you were riding in the car with your mom and you saw a...
Whose phone is that?
You saw a phone call come in that was for Junior?
What do you mean? While we were on our way to Kenosha, did Mr. Gutierrez call my mom?
Oh, there goes the bailiff.
No, prior to that date. Was there a time where you were in the car with your mom and Junior called her and you asked your mom who Junior was?
No.
That never happened?
No, that was a different time.
Okay, that was a different time. So
That conversation did not happen in the car.
did you ever see him call your mom from the
Yes.
car?
No, not from the car.
Do you remember a time, too, where you...
Counsel, I'm just going to object because you stated a fact that the call that was talked about, testified to, was Leo, not Junior.
I beg your pardon?
The testimony previously that she's accessing, that she's mentioning, was a call from Leo, not Junior. So she said Junior.
I apologize, I'll rephrase to Leo. When you were in the car, did you see a... Mike.
Who's-
Mike.
Oh, like Leo short for Rosalito?
Where in the car, someone named Leo called your mom and you saw that?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember it at all?
I don't remember that at all.
Okay, because it didn't happen, or you just have no memory of it?
I just don't have a memory of it.
Okay. You would say you have a pretty good memory, though, correct?
Objection. I guess it's speculative. You know, people ranking their memory. Is it relevant?
I don't remember what the objection. No, I'm. I think most people have an assessment of their own memory abilities, and it may not be accurate, but they all have. Just like some people think they're really good athletes, and other people look and think not so.
So she should answer. She should answer the question.
Yes, answer.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was like,
Years
are we
and-
answering or no?
There's a lot of stuff to remember, and there's a lot of stuff that you don't remember, and you remember some of the more important things that happened. So I don't understand what your question is.
I was just asking about that. Asking whether you think you have a pretty good memory in general.
It's fairly decent.
Do you remember giving a? Do you remember meeting with an individual and speaking with them about this matter in June of 2020?
Which one? There were several.
It was just you and a lady.
Okay.
It was close to, I believe, your home. It wasn't down here. She had shown you some pictures. Does that help give you a little bit of context?
Maybe. I know a couple of people who did that with me, so maybe. Yeah.
Do you remember her asking about what, asking questions about your dad?
What do you mean?
She asked you a question about your dad, and you had told her that you had a memory about how you were sitting in the living room, and your dad came in.
Do you think that's his dad in the background there? Do they look similar, you think? Because there's like people behind him, and I wonder if that's like his side of the family that's supporting him.
And said the TV's not going to raise our daughter. Do you remember telling about that memory of yours?
I have to say that
Where are we going with
I'd have
this?
to play the video.
Well, can you identify the person conducting the interview?
I don't know her name, and I don't believe the witness would remember her name, but I don't have the name. It was a forensic interview.
Confusing to the in the presentation, irrelevant.
It's not, and I don't want to say why it's not relevant in front of the witness.
Well, I don't want to hear that it is
Dad or uncle?
relevant without any reason for me to conclude that. I can't believe we're in a situation where we don't even know who the...
Yeah, I was like, how does she not know who it is? Doesn't she have to, shouldn't she know? Or it's like recorded somewhere?
people involved are?
Yeah, it was something that was...
Hey, there was like a lady who might have asked you something about your dad. Okay, which one? I don't know. You know the lady that was showing you pictures? There are many people that were showing me pictures. Well, the lady that was showing you pictures and asked you about your dad. Huh?
provided late. I didn't think I was even going to have to go into it.
That's not answering my question.
I mean, I could pull it up and figure it out if I could pull up the reports. I just don't have it in front of me right
I
now.
mean, you should have figured it out before you asked the damn question, you know?
Well, find it.
This judge. Find it. He's so over this.
One of those CACs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't know who's involved, or
It's an out-of-county individual in a different county.
Okay, prosecutor knows.
Conducting
Maybe.
an interview for entirely different purposes, is my understanding, and she's asking questions regarding other topics. And I fear that
there's no written record of it,
No.
It's a video, but
and there's no written record of it.
Correct. There were no reports provided to the defense about that. It was just the video.
Okay.
Again, it's document. It's an item that was
But did she ever reach out to the prosecution's office? Like, hey, who was this person in the video?
from out of county.
Try to dig it out.
I am, Judge.
All right, dig it up.
Again,
You were 1 year old.
Objection, irrelevant.
Wait.
basing our questions upon.
I'm familiar with what she's asking.
No.
You what?
I'm familiar with what she's asking. I understand what she's asking.
All right, try again.
Okay, go ahead. Try again. You got this.
Do you remember telling that individual about a memory you had from when you were 1 year old?
Objection, irrelevant. Irrelevant what she thought what happened when she was 1. Nothing to do with this.
What is going on here? All right, guys, quick. What is your first memory? What do you think was your first memory? What do you guys remember?
It doesn't seem to be relevant.
Again, I'd be able to explain it. I do not want to explain it in front of this witness for very legitimate reasons, Judge.
Why? Oh, can we do a sidebar? Here, come on up. Let's do a sidebar.
I can approach with...
Yeah, approach.
counsel.
Yes. Approach Mundo. Wait, that was your first memory? How old were you when that happened?
And the defendant and the witness go in the library and have briefly tried to get to
Sitting in front of the television. I was at least 3 before I remember anything. I was jumping onto bed. I was almost 2. I think my first memory was when I was like 1 or 2. It was when my parents got married. I remember being at their wedding and then like all these weird people coming up to me and like, ah, and I was like, oh, get away from me. Yeah, that's what I remember. And so I told my mom, or I think I told my mom that. And my memory was exactly describing like how they had their wedding thing. So pretty cool.
And the witness. I want the witness.
Are we sidebarring or what?
I'm confused.
I don't want the witness and the defendant in the same room. Is that what the court? I don't know what the court suggested precisely. I thought you were just saying the lawyer should do something. I apologize.
Well, I was trying to avoid sending the jury out of the room again.
Totally understand.
No, we can go back. I was just saying I don't think the witness needs to be back there.
She can remain out here for a second.
That's fine.
But you lawyers go back there and see if you can.
Okay. Lawyers are going to go back there, duke it out. They can do arm wrestling.
Down the line.
Oh, she's back. Hi.
What the state then would try to get into, and we've decided to not go down this road and to move on.
Yep, because you know what? I don't know. She made it seem like she had something brewing up. Like, oh, I don't want to reveal my hand. I don't want to show my cards, but maybe she didn't have anything after all. She's like, yeah, we decided not to go down that route. Sure.
Any comment on that?
Counsel can make her own record about what happened. She's indicating she's not going to go on. So that's fine.
Thank you. So after, so before you talked about how you never talked about your mom about who Leo Jr., Mr. Gutierrez was, but now we've heard there was a time where you were in the car that Leo called and you had a conversation about who he was at that point or soon after.
Okay. So the question is argumentative. To indicate she first said something and now she's saying another is an argumentative question.
Well, it's overall.
You can answer.
Repeat your question. I don't understand.
Sure.
I don't know. This judge is kind of interesting too. He's like, okay, I don't feel like giving a reason, but overall, I thought you have to give a reason.
So you're in the car. You see that this phone call comes in.
I guess if they push, you can give a reason.
From Leo, right?
She indicated she did not remember that. Objection. That's been asked and answered.
Yeah.
I thought she said.
I thought she just nodded her head yes. Did I see wrong?
No. What? I don't remember that.
Okay.
Well, and I apologize, I thought previously you said you did remember receiving that call, so that you don't remember happening.
No.
So how about a time that you went through your mom's cell phone and saw a text with Mr. Gutierrez?
What are you asking about that time?
Did that happen?
Correct.
And then you confronted your mom about him then, correct?
No.
Hey, maybe it's just a small little blip, She's been overworked in this case. Maybe she's a public defender. She's got a million other cases, and she just had a small little blip. I don't know. I can't really rate her performance too much because I haven't seen the rest of the trial. So, we'll see. Maybe she okay. We'll see.
No, I did not.
You didn't have, and she didn't have a conversation with you about that?
No.
Okay.
It's so funny because trials in my head go very differently, but then trials in real time, it's I don't know, sometimes it is a shit show. It's actually gonna be hilarious sometimes.
So after your mom goes down to Kenosha, she comes back and she tells you about what she thinks happened. Did that happen?
We're on May 19th now?
Correct.
Okay.
I just didn't know if I say May 19th, would you know what day I'm referring to as to what occurred?
It wasn't about what she thought had happened. She came in the house and told me, you know, I think one of my friends was hurt pretty bad. And that's really all she had to say for me to get it.
What do you mean for you to have to get it?
To understand what she meant by that.
And what did you take that to mean?
And my dad did it.
Can I skip this question, please?
I'm afraid not.
I knew something bad had happened to a person who I knew about, who in my head I knew about.
So in that moment, you knew that your mom basically was telling you something bad had happened to Mr. Gutierrez.
She didn't really specify names at the time when she just said that, you know, my friend was hurt pretty badly.
I'm saying not about what she said, but trying to clarify more what you took it as. So when you said that you knew someone was hurt really bad, did you think that someone was Mr. Gutierrez?
Yes.
Why was that?
From what had happened on my birthday morning.
And you knew that your mom had gone down to Kenosha to Mr. Gutierrez's place?
Absolutely.
Because she told you that?
No.
So how did you know she went there?
I was tracking her.
You were tracking her?
Correct.
I mean, we got
How
fine
were
friends.
you tracking her?
On Dad's laptop, on his desk.
So you had access to your dad's laptop on his desk on that date?
I did not log into it. He set it all up, and I was sitting in front of it, and he was taking care of the boys downstairs.
What?
So this is on May 19th?
No.
I'm talking...
Sorry. No.
Wait, I'm confused now.
We were talking about May 19th when your mom came home and she had told you that something bad had happened to her friend, and you said you took that to mean something bad had happened to someone, and that I had then asked you if it was Mr. Gutierrez that you thought it was. You had said yes because of what had happened. I then asked you how you knew your mom had gone down to Kenosha to go check on Mr. Gutierrez, and I asked you if she
Sorry,
had
I
told
didn't
you.
understand your question.
Okay. So back to May 19th, 2020, how did you know your mom was going to Mr. Gutierrez's apartment?
I did not. I had just come home from school. I was doing homework.
Who was there with you when you got home from school?
No one.
And so you didn't know she was going to see Mr. Gutierrez?
I had no idea. And, you know, it wasn't very uncommon for me to come home and my parents weren't there. So I didn't really think anything of it until hours started going by.
I want to go back to your answers, though, that you were giving before about being on your dad's computer, on the desk.
Dude, I used to be like, my mom used to leave us alone, like home alone with no babysitter. And I could have sworn I was like, how old was I? I was like 8 years old or something. 2 younger siblings. Like, it's a surprise that we didn't die somehow, man, or get kidnapped or anything. We used to do a lot of really crazy, shady shit.
We were clearly not seeing eye to eye there, which is fine. What date were you referring to when you were tracking your mom?
Yeah, no, you heard the dogs.
In between my birthday and Mr. Gutierrez's disappearance.
So
I don't remember the exact day.
Okay. And was that the only time you went on your dad's computer?
Yes.
And when you went on his computer, did you have to put in a password?
No, like I said, he had already logged into the computer and it was all set up. He just basically told me to watch where she was going.
Okay.
I don't know. This is not
Did you
looking
take
good for the
any
defense.
screenshots when you were doing that?
No, actually, I didn't have a phone like that.
Oh, so
I didn't have the ability to do that.
So were you on a phone or were you on the computer?
I was on my dad's desktop, but I did not have a phone to screenshot anything or screenshot anything on that computer.
Was it a desktop or a laptop, if you remember?
A desktop.
I think in the 90s too, because my all of my neighbors, everyone stayed home by themselves as well. Like, ain't nobody hired a babysitter. You know, they didn't have siblings that were that much older. We're all like the same age, just staying home by ourselves. The only thing that happened once was when we just moved into the house. I was in my mom's room watching like Maury on like the little mini. You remember how we used to have like mini TVs, the little portable TVs? I was watching Maury on there, and I like commanded my siblings to make me like grilled cheese sandwich or something. So they put like bread in the toaster. And I don't know what happened, but the number must have been like amped up or something because the bread caught on fire. And my siblings ran up to me, was like, "Oh my God, the kitchen's on fire!" And I ran down there and like I was like, "Shit!" And I was like trying to put it out, and then I made everyone like crawl on the floor because I remember I learned that in class. You crawl on the floor underneath the smoke. But then I told everyone to go to the basement because my mom explicitly told us not to leave the house. So would you imagine the house caught on fire? And I was like, "Hey guys, let's all go to the basement." Mom says we can't leave the house. We'd have been dead.
And after going back to May 19th now, I'm sorry to take that little detour. I wanted to clarify what you were saying before. On May 19th,
This is not looking good for
when your mom
him.
came home, then you went to the police department here in Kenosha.
Correct.
And during that car ride, you talked about what was going on and what was going to happen, right? When you arrived at the police station.
I don't quite understand.
Amazing any of us
When you were in the
arrived.
car right here, was it explained to you about where you...
I know kids nowadays have it easy, man. They got it easy. And they got Chat GPT now.
you were going and why?
Briefly.
And what did you understand you were going to do?
Well, my mother didn't know this at the time, but I understood what was going on. Like, I understood more about the situation, and when we got there, you don't really have a choice. You kind of just have to go in there and tell.
And you previously had said that your mom didn't really talk about Mr. Gutierrez. And you also said that you had talked to your mom about the events that happened the night of your birthday, the early morning hours of your birthday day.
Eventually, yes, I did. I had very traumatic experiences from that, so yes.
When
Spying on the
did you have
mom
those
and the boyfriend.
conversations with your mom, if you remember?
Just objection, just as to vagueness. Are you referring to discussions about what happened on her birthday night, the April 24th event? I just
Sure,
I'm confused about what you're.
Zachariah looking like shit. I'm screwed. Oh, I didn't know I was zoomed in like that. Whoops. Zachariah knows he's screwed.
Sure. Well, I guess it's because
If
you're saying there was no times where your mom discussed Mr. Gutierrez with you, correct?
I disagree.
So were there times where you brought up Mr. Gutierrez with your mom?
Yes.
When, do you remember when?
It was not before all of this.
So it was only after.
Correct.
And when I said after all of this, I don't want to put words in your mouth, so if you could just tell me like,
After
when,
my dad was arrested, when we were sitting.
Okay, so you only told her all the details about
After.
everything you knew after.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we're just
I did not
reminding
tell her everything.
reminding the jury all the weird, crappy things that a dad has done. Oh,
In
God.
Kenosha, you're having the interview with detectives. Do you remember having to stop or asking to stop the interview to be able to go ask your mom a question?
Yes.
And when you went to go speak with your mom to ask her a question, it was about whether you could, and without going into the details of what it was about, whether you could go into something with the detectives.
Correct.
18th date, I'm going to give you a date. If you don't remember, that's fine. Just speaking with a detective over the phone.
That possibly could have happened, yeah.
Okay. And in that phone call, you were talking about your dad's flip-flops. And so we have those now, and I just want to show them to you to confirm.
Can't see the flip-flops.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's hard.
not like I
Yep,
was
absolutely.
trying. Okay, on them. Weird ways.
That's probably why they look like that.
Yeah, okay. And these were the flip-flops he was wearing on the 16th and 17th.
When I saw him
When,
last?
yeah.
Correct.
Are they trying to say that, like, oh, there's no blood or anything on these flip-flops? I mean, he could have worn different shoes.
Does it ask to move into evidence defense exhibit 319?
No objection.
Again, I'm going to give you a date if you remember. Remember Detective Anschutz coming to your mom's house?
Yes.
Okay. Detective Anschutz about the phone that your dad had given you, the Motorola G6?
Yeah.
What is a Motorola G6?
Your testimony is that your dad had given you that phone?
Yes.
Is that what he used for a
Take the
burner
without
phone?
His
No.
consent?
No.
Were
Like a
there
drug
times
dealer's
where you had
phone?
taken people during this time frame? Were there times where you had taken people's phones without their consent?
Objection, Judge. It's improper impeachment of this witness, irrelevant.
Rephrase your question.
During this time frame, you had taken a phone from a family member, correct?
Dude, judges, does this have shoulder pads? This looks so uncomfortable. I mean, it's better than what, like, you know, lawyers and judges wear in, like, UK and Australia and stuff. It's got shoulder pads, right?
Correct.
Again, Judge, this allegation is irrelevant and is improper impeachment.
Overruled.
Go ahead. Yeah, does she know the answer?
Yeah, you can answer it, sorry.
Yes.
That was yes?
Yes.
Is that... Actually, I want to go back to the chainsaw statements that you were talking about earlier. You had said that, what happened, can you walk us through again, what happened with that chainsaw when you got to the tree farm on the 16th?
He took it out of the back trunk and he walked it into the barn and they were looking at it. They meaning my dad, my grandpa, my uncle, and that's all who's there, and me.
And you told that to the detectives when Detective Anschutz came to your house. That's when you gave him that statement, right?
Objection. How would she remember what statement she gave certain information in? Relevant.
Well,
Sorry, you can answer it.
This is prosecutor.
I'm not sure I understand what your question is.
You had told detective, maybe you don't remember when or with what detective specifically, but you had told them at one point.
What? They don't wear the wigs? I know Australia. I thought Australia and in England they wear the wigs. And the lawyers. Sorry, they're not called lawyers. And what are they called again? They're called what's that special word that they call lawyers in like UK and stuff like that? But they also wear wigs too or something, or maybe they just wear the outfit and not the wigs.
Point
like really
that
formal.
Your dad took the chainsaw and out of the vehicle.
Yeah, and took it out of the vehicle and took it into the barn.
Not solicitors. Barristers. Yeah, barristers.
Did he put the chainsaw then back in the vehicle?
Correct, and we took it home, and then he took it out once we got home.
The same one?
Yeah, solicitors too, but I was looking for the word
You
barrister.
remember telling detectives that your dad took a different chainsaw home with them when they left and left the original one there?
It could be that I said that, yeah. I don't remember.
Is that what happened?
I'm not sure if that's what I said originally, then that statement probably has the best memory.
So your memory today then is that you're not sure actually what happened with the chainsaw?
I have recollection of it being taken out and put back into the vehicle.
The same one?
I'm not sure.
The same chainsaw?
Possibly.
Okay. But you're saying whatever memory, whatever you told detectives closer to that date would have been the most accurate thing?
Correct. This was 3 years ago.
Understandable.
What? Wait, we were talking about... Okay, sorry. I need to take a quick break. What? Someone in chat says, pray mantis will kill hummingbird. Oh my God. Even though mantises are smaller, they still attack hummingbirds. It's rare, but it's gruesome. A praying mantis lurks on a hummingbird feeder, watching carefully as the hummingbird hovers near the sugary water. With one quick motion, the mantis grabs the hummingbird and misses. Hummingbirds don't always get a second chance. Pictures this instance of the one dangling above shows mantis dangling from the feeder with the bloodied hummers at the end of their claws. And then they start eating the innards. But wait, you must be thinking, aren't hummingbirds are as big as mantises? What the? A mantis has to be very hungry. Well, we have a lot of aphids, so hopefully the mantis won't kill the hummingbird. Oh my God. I know, right? It's so sad and badass at the same time. Oh my God. Jesus. They can also turn their heads 180 degrees. I mean, it seems like it rarely happens, but oh my God. I mean, honestly, the hummingbirds. No, yeah, they'll probably fly to the plants. Jeez, I don't know. Hummingbirds, they can sting. What do you mean? Like stab you with their beak? Oh man. Drama.
Is in your dad's house?
I do.
And you told detectives that he would usually have a lot of money in the house and that you would count it, right?
I have counted that money before, correct?
Dad's a drug dealer.
Well, the question was whether you had told the detective that,
Oh, sorry, yes.
that your dad had a lot of money in the house
Yep.
and that you would count it.
Yes.
Okay, you know, I don't know where the defense has been going this entire time. I don't know. The only thing I could think of was like maybe they're trying to show that the daughter is unreliable, bad memory, doesn't know what she's talking about, coached by the mom. But I none of this is good for the defense.
Do you know anything about psychedelic mushrooms?
I do.
Mom might be watching.
Do you remember telling the officers about your dad experimenting with them?
Actually, I do, correct. The mushrooms in the fridge was actually what I was referring to, and I had found out that he was not selling those and that he was taking them himself.
And you knew, though, that he was selling the marijuana?
I did know that.
Oh, that's probably why he had like almost $50,000 in cash. Drug dealer. Okay.
So enough about all the detective talk, just some basic things about your dad and his house, a little bit more casual. He was trying
More
to work on
cash.
the house, right?
The work was under construction, yeah.
And you would still go over there and play with your brothers and have a good time?
Yeah.
Skateboard, play basketball?
Yes, there were a lot of bad times during our family situation, but there were also good ones too. And
Drug dealing is not worth it, dude. You get robbed, okay? Sometimes people don't fucking pay you. When the police catch on and they raid the crap out of your house, they fuck shit up, fuck doors up. It's not worth it. And then when you go to jail and then all that, you gotta hire a lawyer. Like, drug dealing is not worth it. I know, like, sometimes when you're a teenager, you're like, oh my God, you make so much money from drug dealing and you just get lured by all the money that you make, but it is just not worth it. It's a fucking headache.
the ones that you're mentioning are definitely good ones that I've had with him, yes.
Yeah, and having gone
Sure, David, sure. Eyes on you. Got my eye on you.
in the back.
There's tons of good memories there. Yeah.
No, I dated a drug
bonfire
dealer.
there?
It's a shit show.
I mean, it wasn't very frequent, but I mean, yeah.
And maybe it wasn't frequent because you weren't there every day. You'd go over.
And it's dangerous too, because sometimes when people know you got drugs to your house, you fucking get robbed, gunpoint and stuff like that.
How often would you go to your dad's house?
What period? Just so
During
Drug
the period
dealers
we're
are
talking about, so
lame.
from, like, March of 2020 through to the last time that you were there.
I couldn't count how many, but there were fairly many times that I
Yeah,
would,
David, your background is green. Is that marijuana back there I see? Is that some plants back there? Is that a farm back
And there
there?
were times where your dad would come over to your mom's house too, and you guys would hang out there as well.
yeah. It depended on the situation.
Oh my God, my friend though. My friend knew this guy who got his house broken into. The people had guns. No one was home, but they shot at his Rottweiler. And the Rottweiler was taken to the hospital and like they had to amputate the legs. So the Rottweiler only had like, 3 legs. It was really sad. And the guy did like a GoFundMe to raise money so like, the dog could get proper care. But the background story is this motherfucker was a fucking drug dealer and he had drugs at his house. People knew that, fucking robbed him. Gunpoint. The guy wasn't home, but the dog was there, probably to guard the drugs, whatever. And that's why the dog got shot. So... like, I'm glad that the dog got care, but the fact that he did a GoFundMe, and I'm pretty sure, I'll assume he would have fucking money. Maybe he got, I guess they robbed all his money and stuff. I don't know, it's just kind of weird to me, but whatever.
Situation in the day.
I know, right? Poor dog. But like, I don't think he told people that, I don't think people knew he was a drug dealer. So he did like the GoFundMe and then probably got all the sympathy and stuff on Instagram and GoFundMe and stuff like that. But the background story is the motherfucker was a drug dealer.
That there would be certain, different reasons why.
Yeah.
Did your dad still have any belongings at your mom's house? If you know.
Aww.
Maybe. I mean, my dad also traveled for work. So while he would, in between coming home and...
I know. I feel like that's like one of the saddest jobs ever, to work at like a veterinarian. Like, I feel like the vets there are just like kind of like, maybe similar to like doctors. Like, I just feel like it's become soulless now, because you're so used to seeing so many sad cases and stuff like that. Yeah, it's really sad. We saw a lot of shot dogs and BS stories from the owners. Oh, this one time Dennis and I were making dog food, right? And we had to run to the grocery store really quick because we forgot to buy like liver or chicken. I forgot to buy something. So we all run to the grocery store. We come back. We start making the dog food. And then all of a sudden, Steve was like having like a seizure in front of the gate. And I was like freaking out because he had like pancreatitis, like really bad pancreatitis, like a couple years before that. And so I'm always like kind of like watching his health and stuff. And so he was like having a seizure. And I was like, oh my God, something's wrong with Steve. So like we all grabbed Steve, drove our ass to the fucking ER and dropped him off there. And the vet calls me and the vet's like, so, what's going on with your dog? I'm like, I don't know. Like, like all of a sudden he was having a seizure and then we brought him in the car and he was like, it looked like he was having a seizure. And then like the light was too bright and he was like going like this and stuff like that. Like his eyes were really like small. And then so the vet was like, so do you have like drugs at your house? We're like, no, we don't do drugs. And he was like, they were like, oh, you don't have like, like prescription drugs, like, acid. I was like, no. And he's like, marijuana. Oh, you know what? We do have edibles. I forgot about that. Yeah, we got gummy edibles. And then she was like, do you think there's any way your dog could get into it? And I was like, yes, possibly. So we go back and watch our security camera footage, right? So when we were cooking the dog food, we moved all the tables where the couch was, right? And the table was where the edible was. So Steve climbs on the couch. He parkours over to the dining table and then he finds like the weed thing. But the weed thing is like, it's child lock safe, right? It's like a fucking like Hellraiser puzzle in order to fucking unlock it. And so he somehow bites into it and then he fucks with it while we're at the grocery store and he eats like 100 milligram of THC. Okay. And it's funny now because we figure out what it was. But I guess like it was too much for him. So he was like shaking a little bit, but he wasn't having a seizure. He was just shaking. And then when we took him when we were on our way driving to the hospital, I guess like you're really sensitive to light when you're really high. And so he was like, oh, the light, no, get the light away from me. Yeah, I felt so bad. And we were like, oh my God, poor Steve. And so we took him home. He was fine. The doctor was like, yeah, he just needs to he just needs to just work it out. And then so when I was, so Steve went into his little tent and he was sleeping the entire time. And whenever I would go in to check on him, he's like, oh, it's too bright. Oh, stop it. Go away. But I would feed him. I remember when I got his dog food, I like mushed it up for him so I could like feed him in like small little batches. And he was so hungry. He had like the little dog munchies that he was eating. Oh my God, he was so cute. But yeah, I felt really bad. So even though, yeah, just be careful, okay? People who do drugs and stuff like that, just, I don't know, put it in the refrigerator. Dogs can't open refrigerators. Yeah, he got the munchies afterwards. Yeah, poor guy. He was so stoned. Actually, I still have videos of that and like the security cam footage of him doing the parkour stuff and like, Steve is a good dog. Shiro is the bad corgi where he'll jump up and literally like steal cake from you right in front of your face. But Steve, man, like he's always been such a good boy. But when we start watching the security cam footage, we realized that he would start climbing up, like he would climb up and like try to parkour and like get stuff. Because I remember for Halloween, we had a bowl of Halloween candy and I was like, who the fuck ate all my Jolly Ranchers? And then so I started finding Jolly Rancher wrappers right by his tent. And so he climbed up and stole all my Jolly Ranchers and it was like stealing them one by one, like as each day passed. It was like really funny. So sneaky guy. Okay. All right. But yeah, he's okay now. Poor Bubba.
And leaving.
Bye, Kim.
He would stay at his house, but when he would come back in town, he would stay at my mom's house. He would just sleep on the couch. So, I mean, I'm sure there was some of his stuff there, maybe still.
Okay. And by stuff, I mean like some clothes, maybe.
Yeah.
Dirty clothes.
All right. No, nothing further subject to recross. Thank you.
Oh, thank God it's over. But my God, I don't see what was the point of all those questions. Except for the fact that she got shut down a couple of times by a sassy teenager. All right, guys. Well, there's that. So again, a man is on trial for the murder of his ex-girlfriend's boyfriend at the time. I know that sounds really messy. He took his daughter to go spy on them. He planted a bunch of burner phones to track them down. He ding-dong ditched them while they were together. Like, there's a man-child over here. We'll see where this goes. We're only on like I think we're like day 15, 16, 17 of the trial. And I think the defense is probably going to go now. But I do maybe at some point want to listen to the opening statements because they maintain that he didn't do it. But I want to know what's the alibi? Like, where was he? What's he going to say? He's like, oh, I was at home the entire time. You know, like, I don't know. Do we have like cell phone data records to back that up or anything like that? We'll see. The guy is nuts though. Yeah, he is. And I feel so bad for the daughter. Thank God though, because like I think he has twins, but they were probably too young to understand how batshit crazy the dad was at the time. Oh no, my ex once gave my dog some kind of drug that almost killed him. She claimed his prescription, but it was definitely an amphetamine of some kind. She was a cokehead, so who knows? Oh my God, I'm glad that your dog was okay. Jesus. Yikes. Or yeah, I don't know. I remember when we were teenagers, like the kids would try to like get the dogs high, be like, oh yeah, my dog loves getting a hot box. It's like, well, you don't know that. Dogs can't talk. They can't communicate with you, you know? And like, I don't know, it's just sad. So yeah, don't drug your dogs up. All right, guys. Well, that's it for today. You know, we got through a lot of stuff. If you guys missed the stream, it's fine. I will have the stream live. And if there's some parts that interest you more than others, I will chop up the stream for you guys and upload on YouTube. I'm a little bit behind though, because I didn't do last week because I was really lazy and I was just beat from yard work. But the yard work is done. I'm going to do a vlog soon, so keep an eye out for that one. Thanks for hanging out. If anything else pops up, though. Oh, I do want to see, I think Stephen Smith's mom, I think she does an interview on Court TV at some point. So Vinnie Politan said she was going to come on today. So I'll keep an eye out on that. We can watch it together when that happens. But yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye out on all the stuff that's going on. Any updates with the Murdoch stuff. There might be a lot of crazy shit coming out. We'll see. They're going to reopen. They've already reopened Stephen Smith's case. They're planning to exhume the body. I think they're going to reinvestigate Gloria Satterfield's death as well and exhume her body. And yeah, we'll keep you guys posted, all right? My alibi is that I cleaned my car with bleach during the murder. It was nice hanging out with you guys, all right? You guys are always making me laugh. Thank you so much for chatting with me. I do appreciate you guys. Thank you for those who are lurking as well. I always usually have streams up in the background. I listen. I don't really, interact and stuff. But dude, I thank you so much for hanging out. Have a good one. I do stream on Twitch as well. If you do video game stuff or you like watching video games, feel free to stop by in there. If not, I'll see you guys later. All right. Have a good one.